As many of you know, I've lived with severe health anxiety, general anxiety, and panic attacks for about 5 years. And over that time, I've experienced hundreds, if not even thousands of different terrifying physical symptoms. But no matter what, there was always this one main fear, this one main symptom that would always bring me over the edge and jumpstart my day full of panic attacks. I don't really know how to properly describe it, but it was kind of like I would just have to feel a tiny bit of a sensation for just a split second or so, and I would be in big time panic mode in an instant. There was no build up, no conscious thinking about it, no time to somehow try and control the thoughts, just extreme panic from one second to the other. These trigger symptoms always correlated with my latest health scare, which for the biggest part of my 5 years with anxiety were heart attacks or strokes, something along that line. So any symptom that even so slightly remoted one of these diseases, and there was no way in hell that I could calm myself down. A little tingle in my left finger, panic. One of these weird zaps in my chest area, panic. Waking up with a light headache, panic. And when I say panic, I mean this very, very real fear of dying. So there I was, once again, dealing with a full-blown panic attack. Really trying hard to convince myself that what I was experiencing isn't something serious, and that it is just an anxiety attack. But as you probably know very well, in those moments it is pretty much impossible to do so. Once in a state like this, my mind would run wild, my brain constantly bombarding me with those terrifying what-if questions. What if this is real? What if nobody finds me when I pass out? What if I'm too stubborn and should actually get this one checked out by a doctor? Exactly these moments at which you start second guessing everything you have learned from books, YouTube videos, or even doctors, wherever, are the most crucial times that everyone who is on the recovery journey has to learn to manage. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Well, that was pretty obvious, man. But hear me out. The biggest mistake that we make in these moments is that we give in to these fears, or better said, the what-if questions. The terrifying thoughts keep nagging, keep pushing, until we can't stand them any longer, and come to an in-the-moment decision. For me, it mostly was calling up my doctor and making yet another appointment, or searching on Google to find something that would disprove my theory that it could be a heart attack and all that kind of stuff. And hey, I'll be honest here and say that it actually often did work out, and I did manage to calm myself from that intense anxiety attack. But in hindsight, I now realize that this approach was completely wrong, and rather making things worse than better. You've got to understand that once you give in to these questions and start seeking external reassurance, which for the most part are passive actions, well then you're just confirming to your subconscious mind that there actually is something that needs to be double checked and might actually be a threat. The result being that you haven't built up any confidence in actually being okay, knowing that it's just anxiety. You have solely relied on something from the outside to reassure you, and that somehow was just comforting enough to get you out of that panic attack. But to be honest, probably didn't really answer any of your dreadful what-if questions. You're still very unsure if everything you're feeling and going through is just anxiety, or maybe your doctor has just missed something. I know that fear extremely well. You have more than likely heard from some other channel here that the road to recovery is acceptance and facing your anxiety symptoms eye to eye. Well, I agree. That is the way to begin your recovery. But it isn't something that can just be done. But at least for me, it was close to impossible to sit down and calmly listen inwards while reassuring myself that I'm okay. It made things a lot worse actually. I would always find something wrong that would double or triple confirm my fears. So what I did was something almost completely opposite of what others preach here on YouTube. I started distracting myself in intense anxiety situations, but that only in a very proactive way and from within myself and not from something external. Let me try to explain. In extreme anxious or panic moments, we all have that inner battle, the first 5 minutes or so, where we can kind of try to talk ourselves down, but it never really works. But what I did was I used these moments, quickly reconfirmed that I have been checked out so many times, reconfirmed what I've learned so far, and did something very physical, like intense hit runs, squats, or just jumping up and down. I know it sounds super weird and probably silly. It isn't even a thing that will work instantaneously, if I'm completely honest. But at the end, I almost always manage to get out of that thinking loop. Plus, even more important, I've shown my mind and body that in these moments I thought I was dying, I could still carry on and do something that would normally further escalate a real physical illness. So in a sense, I did face my symptoms, did really accept what was happening to me, asked for the symptoms to strike me down, but that without the yogi-like mental self-control that I unfortunately didn't have. And nope, I'm not saying that this isn't something that can be done, but I do believe that my approach is a lot easier for most of you out there. Not easy, but easier, of course. I didn't feel amazing after my quick, intense workout, but in the long run, I did feel a lot more confident in my anxiety diagnosis and these inner battles with my mind I talked about earlier. Well, I started winning a lot of those, and eventually all of them. Anxiety recovery, unfortunately, never will be easy, but there lies a lot of truth in the anxiety recovery basics like acceptance, listening into your body, and asking for more. It's just the way you do it that can vary. If you've tried the former without success, do me a favor and give my approach a try. Not just once, but over and over again, because you will probably relapse and seek reassurance, at least at the beginning, and that is 100% okay, and does not mean that you're back to square one. But the goal of anxiety recovery is trying to prolong the time between one anxiety or panic attack to the next one, so that you can use that downtime to concentrate on lowering your overall stress levels, which is the other major part of recovery, which I've explained in detail in the recovery playlist linked here. Please check that one out and you will be well equipped to get your life back. Thanks for watching, everyone, and if you're new here and want to see more anxiety related content just like this one, consider subscribing.